So let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Arthur Lumsey Jr., and I have the pleasure of introducing Miss Bailey Bracken and Miss Jacqueline Polk. And today they're going to be talking to you guys about how to create a career action plan. So without further ado, please take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Bailey Bracken. I'm the career advisor for the School of Business and the School of Education.
All right. My computer has been fighting me all day, you all. So sorry about that. My name is Jacqueline Pope, but I go by Jackie, and I'm the career advisor for the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences and the School of Human Services. All right. So first today, I always like to kind of start off with the idea of what a career plan is, okay? Because a lot of times we start seeing career plans as, how do we put it into words, like a degree plan. In the chat functions, I like us to be a little interactive. What do you believe a career plan is? And then Bailey, you can help me with any of the feedback.
Yes. We'll see what people type in.
Or just share it. If you want to talk, just share it as well. I encourage both. All right. So from what I've seen with students, sometimes they say, okay, I'm thinking about career plan. Well, it's like a degree plan, right? Like if you do all these little steps, then you automatically get that career. Careers are very much different from degree plans. Degree plans are a specific amount of courses to learn specific content, whereas career is an ongoing thing. So you can go ahead and click to show the definition. And this is from MIT. So if you know MIT, I would say they're pretty credible with their definitions. But basically, a career plan lists short and long-term goals. It also helps you make decisions about what different kind of classes you want to take, identify activities, research, internships, and what essentially makes you a strong candidate for a job. And I think I had someone I seen, if you can read it, Bailey.
Yeah, it says career plan might be the steps you take through your professional journey.
I like that one. Shout out to the professional journey, because I love the word journey, because it essentially is a journey that it is ongoing. Regardless if you do, and I always like to set the stage with saying, even if you're starting your journey, you want to look at it as a start that just continues to go. So just like none of us look like we did when we were 1 year old, unless you have a genetic disorder. And for that, I am literally here and inclusive. But for most of us, we do not have that. So we're going to see that we're going to progress and grow. And so I want you to think of your career that same way. You can go to the next slide, Bailey. So one thing I noticed, so a lot of people, they walk around, they're like, Jackie, I've been in school, I've been working, I've been doing different activities, I'm doing all this stuff. And I thought I had a career, plan. I thought I had some ideas. Well, what I've come to realize, and also research that I've done, is that there's a lot of barriers that we don't really acknowledge when we're actually starting the process of developing an actionable career plan. And when I say actionable, that means things that you can put in practice. So not just an idea, not sounds good, but something that you can particularly put in practice. So we're going to talk about some of those barriers, because I think this is going to be a good spot before we even jump into actual steps. We want to acknowledge some of the barriers. So one of the first barriers, and you can go, Bailey, and it'll click every time I do it. Let's be honest. We always say it's about the business. It's not about how I feel. That's not true. A lot of our decisions are based off of how we feel, how a job would make us feel, maybe the lifestyle that job would give us, and that lifestyle tells us a lot about ourselves. So these are a lot of complex decisions involved with feelings, and how we sometimes can't even navigate those on our own. So when we're making our career decisions, we're noticing that there's a disconnect there. Go to the second one. Guess what? There is not one way with a career plan. Career plans have specific steps depending on which option, and keyword option. Careers will always have option. There is never going to be a single career plan. There's never going to be one single way. There's never going to say this is the right or the wrong way. Anytime you make a career decision or make a career plan, you have to own the fact that it will adapt and it will change. If your career plans are not adapting and changing, then I can honestly tell you that you probably don't have a career plan. You just set a set of goals, but the end goal with a career is to have that fulfillment. So again, you're going to have multiple options, and there's not going to be a correct choice. I want you to really make that note. Put it in your notebook, put it in your phone. when I'm making my career decisions, there's not a correct choice. There is a choice that best fits my life at the moment, or a choice that best fits my interest in who I am, but not a correct choice. Oh, to the next one for me, Bailey.
I was already up.
Oh, thank you. The uncertainty about the outcome. Okay. And I want to do a poll. How many of you like surprises? Okay. You could put a reaction. You could put like a little emoji. You could put in there, I like surprises. How many of you like surprises? So a lot of people say they do. So I need you all to have that same energy, like they say, bring that energy to your career, because careers are going to be a surprise. If I could have my teammates share one of the surprises they got as they've done their own career plans. So Arthur, Bailey, could y'all share just real quick a surprise that you may have encountered while you were doing your career journey so far?
One of my biggest surprises, I guess, was I thought I was going to graduate in May and have no problem getting a job. And then this pandemic happened. So that was a surprise in my journey. I've also had to learn to work virtual, very updated on my technology skills. And that's something I never thought I would feel confident in.
Nice.
Absolutely. I think for me, starting one job and then being thrust into a leadership role. And if I had to be honest, I wasn't ready for that role, but then I relied on previous leadership experience and roles that I had in other places, and allowing the opportunity to utilize some transferable skills to be ready to skill up at a moment's notice.
So with just those two examples, I want you all to start taking in consideration that a lot of you said, yes, I do like surprises. Now, some of you may be like me, I don't like surprises. They make me nervous. But we do have to kind of own the fact that our careers, they have a level of uncertainty. With the pandemic, some people have lost their jobs have transitioned. Using us, for example, we would be doing this typically in person, but we've had to get comfortable with Zoom, which I'm still not great at, with Teams, with YouTube, with social media, but that's called an uncertain outcome. Even some people have realized in the pandemic that they no longer like the job that they were doing before the pandemic. So you want to really own this level of uncertainty. You go to the next one, Bailey. Now, this is a thing I've seen in most of my students really kind of try to avoid. Whenever we make a career decision, it's going to create a new problem. Okay, message. I have an example. Student comes in and says, you know what, Jackie, I realized that I really do like helping people. I really thought about nonprofits, but I really love the idea of managing. I really love the idea of things being organized. So I'm really thinking about going to like project management or HR, any of those. And I'm like, awesome. I think that's exciting. Then what they realize is that, all right, I made this decision, but that may change my degree plan, which may mean more time. I may now have to look at investing in different organizations. I may need to be a part of professional organizations. I may need to look at internships. Actually, I may need to consider changing my job and getting an entry-level position so that I can already be gaining some valuable skills. So you see how when you make a career decision, it now created other problems. And this is what people try to avoid. I want to make a decision for my career, but I don't want anything in my life impacted. I have a question. How many of you all, when you decided to come to school, that there were some things that changed? Schedules, finances, your rest time? In the comments, did anybody experience some changes when they decided to go into starting their degree? Oh, is shout out rest time definitely changed, like the rest time. Yes, the life changed. And guess what, you all? This is the same situation when you make a career decision, because when we talk about actionable career plan, when you make a decision to say, okay, these are kind of some of my top 5 options, I'm deciding to go through with them, that's also going to decide that some things that you had lined up are going to change, which may create new problems. Maybe you don't get a lot of sleep. Maybe you're starting to say, man, my finances, I may have to take on this part-time job because I need this experience, but I also need to be able to be there for my kids in their game, or I'm taking care of family members. So I can't stay after school or be so involved, but I need to. So this is an issue that most people are not able to do an actionable career plan. What they do is they look up the education, they look up the skills, they look at how much they make, and they just say, hey, I'm just going to go for that.
Arthur said we did have a comment from Facebook saying, yes, I had to find another avenue for income as well. So just what you were talking about.
that actually, I appreciate you for being that transparent, because if we're honest, most of the problems when it comes to a career plan are going to surround about finances. Either you can't do as many hours at your job, or you're going to have to look at another job that accommodates you getting some of these experience and sometimes your pay, the pay scale can go down, sometimes can go up. So, but these are barriers. So before we jump into steps, I need you to really take assessment. So this is where I want you to take a moment to think about which are some of the big barriers for me that is really hindering me from making my career plan actionable. Because a career plan is easy to say, go to school, finish school, get a certification, learn these skills, and make this money. Those are great, but its barriers are stopping you from making it actionable, like actually starting some of the things now, starting your skills now, starting to actually be intentional with the companies you're looking at. What is stopping you now? Because that's what's going to hinder you from creating an actionable career plan if you don't acknowledge the barriers. And also, just a plug out to our UNT Dallas Counseling and Wellness Office. Sometimes our barriers are personal. So this is where I champion you, especially if you're a student. Reach out to our counseling and wellness office, because what you can do is, if it's a battle, that's something that you're like, I got a lot going on, they're going to help you with that. Because again, you cannot make effective career decisions if you're not handling yourself first. You can go to the next slide, Bailey. So I like to, talk about career plans like in phases versus steps, because I feel like steps, I'm a hippie at heart, so I like to be able to move around, but I like to do phases. So I like to say phase one, you have to start with self-knowledge. Okay. So a lot of people say, I know me. You know who you present, but do you know yourself? This is why I encourage all my students. I don't care of age, I don't care how long you've worked in the field. You always want to just recheck by simply going in and taking our focus to assessment. So before we jump into, okay, this step one, this step two, step three, I need you to take some time to think about yourself. What are your values, interests, skills, personality, work personality? What are your personal values? A lot of people try it again. We don't want to eliminate ourselves. When you think about a career plan, you don't take yourself out of the equation. You are the person working. You are the person that's bringing those levels of expertise and creativity to the table. So that's why I want you to take time to just take a little bit, write it down. Sometimes we think it, but we're actually encouraged to write it down. We aren't able to. Then follow up with a career advisor. Okay, I know a lot of people. I know y'all like, I'm just here because they hire me because I got curly hair. Okay, clearly that's why they hired me. But we really want to meet with you. We really, really, really want to be able to look through those assessments and help you understand it. So make some time to meet with us. We could do that through handshake. So make some time to connect with us, okay? Now on the other side, now this is the side that most people kind of do. So it's like we skip step one in a way, like self-knowledge. We just be like, okay, I'm not diving into that. But on the second side, it's our occupational knowledge and options. So this is a big one for me. You have to be okay with the idea that there are multiple options that will allow you to live a fulfilled life with your career, not major options. So please, 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 please stop selecting majors and then thinking about occupational options. You think about your occupation first, and then you align the major with it. It does not work the other way around. Majors are specific set of courses that give you specific knowledge for where you choose to apply it. Did everybody catch that? Majors give you knowledge where you choose to apply it. So if you don't even have your occupational options prior, then you're just learning something and you don't have a clear idea where you would apply it. So make sure that you get your options before. Now, I'm not saying drop out of school, stay here at UNT Dallas. We got career assessment, we help you. But I want you to take some time to say, you know what, I'm taking these classes, but I really need to get my options together. So there's three things that we do. We have ONET Online, we have Occupational Handbook, and we have Vault. And so again, I've seen a comment. When you think of, I want you to think of, when we think about certifications or a vocational training schools, we know that we go to school to learn certain skills to apply in a job. I want you to think of degrees as like it's giving you knowledge that you have to apply, be creative with, and then implement in whatever field you choose. Also in the comments, I want you to write down these links, copy and paste these links. These are the links that you're going to get a majority of your occupational knowledge. That is by the government. Now, the last one I like, which is Vault, it's all about videos. So if you're honest, like me, I like TikTok, I like YouTube. So it's going to have a lot of videos. So if you want to actually hear people talk about the careers they're doing, hear what they are, see different options within career clusters, Vault is going to be super helpful. But again, ONET, Occupational Outlook Handbook, and Vault. So phase one, you have to know yourself. That's why I said counseling was a good way to do that. Another way to get that is taking our assessment meeting with us. And on the other side, you have to know your options. Not a major, because majors, again, they're here to teach you to be effective in fields, but they cannot determine the field for you. You determine that. You can go to the next slide. Okay, that was a mistake I made the first degree. I learned the second time. Yes, and that is very true. But you know what? I'm going to use this example. I do the idea of like you have to live to learn. So I'm gonna use an example of like a toddler. When toddlers are learning how to walk, it's like they don't see steps, they don't see depth, they don't see danger, they're just walking. But we know that through this process, the more they practice it, the more they're going to be walking and be able to understand depth and understand dangers. So I want you to think of your education that way. So if you're the person that said, I'm going to change my major 10 times, I'm going to change career fields, man, it's a lot. Like it's just not coming together. No, that means you're learning. Actually, you're doing a higher level process of what we call, what do you call it? It's like you're discerning between what you like and what you don't like. Never fault what you like and you don't like, because that's how you make effective career decisions. You have to go through the process of saying, I like that, I don't like that. Just like children. I like this type of food, I don't like this food. I like this color, I don't like this color. So I want you to think of actionable career plans as something that is lifelong. It's not a beginning and an end. It's something that you just continuously do until you decide to no longer be in the world of work. So we got phase one. We realized I got to understand myself and I have to have my occupational options. Now, this is phase two, is where almost all of you probably are. All right, Jack, I know a little bit about myself. I feel confident there. I know I got some options out here, but I'm really nervous to make the wrong decision. If I feel like I made the wrong decision, I don't know how to fix it. I got all these barriers because if I try to fix it, I may not have time or money. Now we're in phase two. We're stuck in where we're having to make those decisions. So this is where you have to identify your career cluster. And when I say career cluster, I'll use an example. If you're in business, business is the cluster. What you're doing in business is how you get specific. So people say, I want to be in business. Okay, that's great. That means you told me a cluster. Are you looking at project management, business analyst? Are you looking at, we would say general business. What kind of general business? Are you looking at management? Are you looking at program coordinating? That, when we talk about cluster, we're talking about the umbrella. So that's why a lot of our majors typically align with the career clusters. So the umbrella. But you have to be specific in what under that umbrella you really want to specialize in. Now, ONET is how you determine job titles. So make that note. ONET is how you can determine some various job titles. A lot of my students are like, I get it, Jackie, but what are some like the job titles? Like, because I'm looking, but I don't know what that title would be. So you would want to look up the titles, and they do have them categorized under career clusters. And if you take the focus two is going to give you like a personality kind of breakdown that ONET also uses. It's called the Holland Code. So then you're also going to be able to see if you're artistic, if you're investigative, if you're social. You're going to see some of these same things from that assessment over in ONET under different job titles or career clusters. So you see how, again, we can't skip phase one. In phase two, we're going to need all of that we learned about ourselves and what connects with ourselves. We're going to need that for phase two. Because in phase two, this is where you define the skills you need for the roles. Now, skills pay the bills. Let's say it one more time. Skills pay the bills. When you're in class, when you're using PowerPoint, Microsoft, Excel, those are skills. So we cannot jump and say, okay, we don't need skills. I'm going to just get this degree. No, you need a balance between skills. And ONET does a great job of listing all those skills you may need, as well as your knowledge. But those skills, you need to make sure that you're obtaining those skills. Even using critical thinking is a skill. So when your professors are giving you like these scenarios or mathematical problems, they're not just saying, hey, I want to give you stress. What they're really saying is that, hey, we want to be able to help you practice critically thinking, because that's what companies are looking for. We also have career one stop, And when Career One Stop is going to show you again certifications, training, skills, salaries. And these are controlled by the government. So this isn't like UNT Dallas paying for it. It's not anybody skewing anything. You can go in there and you can get facts because you want to fact check. It is skills pay the bills, I'm telling you. So you want to do both. Also, don't underestimate the skills that you learn that may not directly you think relate to your job. Those are called transferable skills. So you still need to think about the skills you have, the skills you need, and the skills that you can transfer to different fields. Now, you're like, Jackie, okay, phase two sounded nice, but it sounds quite confusing. How do I take action? You have to refer back to those career assessment results to determine your career cluster. Now, let me give you a little, what do you call it? I'm going to give a little side note. Career assessments they will never tell you exactly who you are because you're a whole person with whole experiences and all your awesomeness. But career results help you start seeing some common trends. Okay? This is where I want you to understand that career assessments do not tell you all about yourself, but they will give you some trends. They will help give you some focus. And then make a choice. Now, I know I'm a hippie, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, if I make a choice, it may not be the right choice. I don't really have time. I really don't want to waste time. But sometimes you have to make a choice. Like my friend on Facebook who said, the first time I did my degree, that I didn't make the best decision, but the second time I'm doing better. Well, guess what? They were brave enough to make a choice to start. So make a choice. Just because you make a choice to start is not where you have to finish it, but you have to start. That's actionable. So all the planning, sitting down, saying, thinking about the future, you have to actually start that process. Next slide. In phase three, this is where you're going to develop a timeline. So raise of hands, you can use your the reactions, but raise of hands. See, there's sometimes a choice opens other doors. Exactly, Shinobi. It is true. Sometimes it's true. When you just make a choice, you be like, this was not the one. Well, guess what? You be like, man, I did figure out that this may be something I want to do. But you have to be okay. You remember I mentioned surprises earlier? Like, I don't like surprises, but I have had to adapt and understand that career brings surprises, which also bring new experiences. So it's like it's a good thing, but it can be nerve-wracking. But this is where I want you all, this is actionable. Okay, this is actionable. Now, what I would like you to do, if you can, put your email address that you would like. I'm going to send a handout by the end of the business day to you that can help you start plugging this in. But I'm going to need you to go ahead and put your email address that you want to use in the comment section, in the chat function, so that Bailey can grab it for me, because that is where I'm going to send those emails to, okay? But what I want you to think about is start plugging in your timeline for multiple career decisions or options. We have to get away from this is the one path, this is the one goal. No, we want to have our top three. You maybe have 5 different type of careers you want. None of that's bad, but we want to create timelines, because sometimes what's in our mind and when we put it in a timeline, we realize that it's not really effective. And that's why you have to get it from your mind on paper. Now, I know we all tech savvy. I'm old school. We need a pen, we need a paper, we need a pencil. You need to get it out of your mind and written down. So this is where I break it up. I tell people, when you think about setting goals, we call starting goals. Starting goals are typically 0 months to 1 year. That's starting goals. So give yourself a break. We're not accomplishing everything in this year. What you're accomplishing, though, is that maybe you say, well, month 1, I'm actually going to reach out to experiential learning and I'm going to see what volunteer opportunities they have. Step 2, I'm going to reach out to our activities and I'm really going to see what our activities department has. Like, what do student affairs offer me? Step 3, that may be why I meet up with the Learning Commons, because I realize my skills in writing are not good and I really want to heighten it. So you see how little by little, and keep in mind, we already got these at the campus. You have departments. Maybe stuff on month 4, you say, I'm going to meet with a couple of my professors. We're going to catch coffee and I'm going to ask them some questions about what interests them about their field. This is starting goals. You can't make goals without actually doing actionable steps to start making intentional goals. So 1 year needs to be, every month at least needs to have a purpose. Your short-term career goals are 5 years. So after your starting goals, which is usually within year 1, you go into this 1 to like 5 years. That's where you start looking at entry-level roles. That's where you start being intentional with the skills you're building. That's when you start being intentional with the projects in your classroom. That's when you're being involved. That's probably when you're getting your entry level job. Now, some of you may be like, Jackie, I've already done this. I'm trying to move up. Well, that's long-term career goals. Because if you already have done these first two levels, your long-term goals, you have to start looking, did I need more certifications? Do I need another degree? Do I need to get better with my skills? Example, we have some positions that I've had friends that are sitting in executive level positions, they had to become more skilled in their technology capabilities than they were before. They had to go back. They went on LinkedIn Learning. They went online to Udemy, Coursera. They were like, I need to learn some of these things, Jackie, because man, people are just able to use the computer. And I didn't realize that I wasn't that savvy in it. And so again, it's wherever you are with your goals, you have to be intentional and they have to be actionable. And actionable means you can actually do them. So we're getting away from I got to graduate, I got to get a high GPA. I'm just gonna worry about, as long as I have a job, somebody gonna pick me up and give me a chance to learn. No, you use every opportunity you have in school and your resources now to create that actionable plan so that when you do graduate, and if you've already graduated, what you're doing is how can I continue to grow and develop myself in my career? That is an actionable career plan. Actionable career plans will always be something that is moving and growing. So how do you take action? Make sure you're getting your information from the right sources, which is ONET, Occupational Handbook Involved, and actually write out goal milestones. So write them out. Month one, this is what I'm doing. Month two, this is what I'm doing. Now you don't have to you don't have to be like day by day or week by week, but if that's your thing, do it. But you have to write it down. If you're not writing it down, then all you're doing is dreaming, and that's awesome. But we want to make things actionable. You can go to the next slide. So essentially at this point, it is time to put your career plan together. And this is where I'm going to open the floor to questions. This is where you have questions. I am going to send the handout by the end of today so that you can have that to start writing and following up with us. So we want you to do it, but we want you to follow up with us, okay? So any questions, anything that you're like, okay, I need clarity, anything that you want to share, now is the time for you to share that with us. And Bailey and Ark, if y'all see anything, because I'm not savvy, I'm still getting savvy, y'all, on the Zoom. And you can go to the next slide too, Bailey. This will be the resources. I always like to make resources. I got research from Florida State University and also the MIT Career Advising and Professional Development. And this is the end of the slide, Bailey, so that you don't have to have the slide pulled up.